Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Dennis. Today we're going to talk about the Light Loop from Be Quiet. It's one of their new completely RGB 360mm radiator. So we're going to get it out of the box, have a quick look at it. I'm going to show you how to connect the fans, and we'll go through the whole gambit unboxing, and then we'll put it together, test it on a system, and see what the temperatures come out. First I'll have to find a system that I've already put together and see what the temperatures are, switch it out for the radiator, and see what kind of improvement we get. So let's get started. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is unbox it, which I think is right on the side here. Get this open. Oh, sorry, opens up. Comes with your manual. Okay, everything, how to do it, tells you everything about it. All your safety information, all that kind of good stuff. And of course, everything in here, your radiator, your fans, and your block, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to quickly go through it and show you how to connect everything, show you how it all works together, and then we'll put it into a system. But first we'll have to go and test the system. So we'll do this first, we'll go test the system, see what the temps are, and then we'll replace it with this one and see what they get. Alright, so right now I'm going to use a system that already has a Be Quiet 360mm in it. It's an actual older system, Ryzen 5 3600X. As you can see on the screen, our temperatures here, so you can sit right there. That's the actual highest temperature among CPU sensors. So we're hitting around 37.3. You can see all the voltages, everything else, in case you're interested. Now, this is on a bit of an older system, but it still works really good. It's the MSI MPG B550 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi. That's the motherboard. Alright, 3600X CPU. Runs really good still. We can see our temperatures. We're going to change it out, come back, and see what it looks like after we changed it out. I really don't expect there's going to be any difference, because all you really added is the RGB lights, but they have changed the pump on it a bit. So that pump might change things a little bit. So we're going to switch it out and see what the differences are afterward. So one of the first things I noticed taking it out is how it's all ribbed this way, which I'm assuming there's LED lights inside here. And your block. Your block is quite a bit different than they've had in the past. This stays pretty much the same. Mounting mechanisms stay the same pretty much. But this is much bigger, and that's because this is all going to light up. Whereas before they had like a ring around it. They didn't have this cuts and stuff like that. So that's a big change from before. Of course, we have our fans. Okay, 3 120mm LED fans. Okay, so that's all good. Of course, these are refillable, and they give you these packets. They've used that to refill it down the road. And of course, it gives you this. And I just realized that this is kind of cool, because this allows you to plug all your fans in here. All right, and you get your connectors. So let's open this up and show you that real quick. So here's your hub. Okay, so you've got your fans and your adjustable RGB on here. All right, you've got your two connectors here for a couple more fans, and on the other side, same thing, adjustable RGB and more fans. Your connectors, okay, so it's powered by Sata, and then one's going to go to your motherboard for your fan, and your adjustable RGB and your motherboard. You need to do that, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to control it. Now, on here you'll notice there are a fan and adjustable RGB, and you're going to need to plug those onto here as well. All right, so remember, the one from the hub goes to your motherboard, and this can just go in here wherever there's an empty spot. All right, we'll get back to that more once we check everything out, just to make sure that I'm not telling you anything wrong. Also comes with some screws and some 3M tape, and of course it's going to have screws in here to fasten down your radiator, which we have here. We have some twist ties and more, and there's your screws, your longer screws, right, for putting it onto your case. And what's left? All right, so this is a nice thing that Be Quiet does. You've got your brackets for Intel, and on the other side your AMD. So you always will be able to quickly pick what parts you need in order to connect it to, depending on what system you're going to put together. You know, if you've got an AMD system, you pick out the AMD bag, everything you're going to need is in there. Same thing if you're doing an Intel build. So let's start putting some things together here. So one of the first things you want to make sure you do, put your fans, you can put them on the top. I prefer to put them on the bottom. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference one way or the other. Some people say it does. Look it up. You'll see for yourself. It doesn't make a lot of difference. Put it this way so your cables are on this side. So when you're like this, all your cables are in the back and you'll be able to hide them on the back of your case. So we're going to proceed to put the rest of these in here with the cables, of course, going to be on the bottom so that we can hide them. All right. Once you've done that, then it's just a matter of your mounting brackets, hooking up all your connectors for your fans, and then plugging it into your motherboard. So that's all there is for the connections. Yep, so we're going to get onto that, and we're going to put it into a build. Or maybe my test bench, we'll have to see. Okay, we got everything, all our fans are on, cables are all in the back. So remember, this is not just about temperatures, this is how to hook it up. So all your cables are going out. It's a mess now because it's not in the case, so you can't take your cables and bring them down. You're going to have this mounted on your case. You've got some place for your 3M tape, all right? And you connect all your adjustable RGB and your fans, everything here. So the only thing you have left is two things. You've got, this is going to connect to your power, okay, for your SATA. You've got another adjustable RGB for your motherboard and your fan header. And on top of that, this is going to go to another RGB and another fan header. All right, those two things. Once you've connected all those, you're going to be able to light it up and do all your tasks and do everything. So that is how all the cables go together. We'll refine it, show you a little bit easier way of doing it as we progress. But now let's get to the system that we're going to use. Sorry about that noise, that's my 3D printer. And we're going to get to how it all goes together and what it looks like and how the temps compare. Okay, so this system here, this tray comes out right here, and this is our old, well, it's not old, but used 360 millimeter radiator. Now, there's only a few cables on this as well. They're all linked together. All right, so that's pretty easy. We're probably going to do the same thing with the other fans. Now, the difference is this one doesn't have RGB, so there's a couple extra connectors. Now, on the back of this case, there is a hub. So we may not need the hub that comes with this cooler. That's all right. It just means we can use it for something else down the road. All right, the brackets are very easy to install. I'll show you that. 4 screws, take them out, take all the fans off, and you're good to go. I may do that. I have RGB cables, RGB fans that I can put on and use those in another system. All right, so I'm going to get it. I'm going to take all this apart, put the other one on here. It's going to go on the exact same way. Okay, you'll get your radiator on the bottom. This flips and slides in on the top. All right, so it's pretty simple to do. I'm going to get on and do that, and then we'll get to hooking everything up. So in case any of you were wondering, after I took the fans off, and I did that for a reason, because you can see the fans were a bit dirty, and look at this. So this is why when you have a radiator, every now and then you got to take this off, clean it up, and you're going to have to also make sure your fans on the inside of the case, because those are dirty too. All right, right in here, like the dust. That's real. That's a lot. So we're going to have to clean this all up a little bit. But like I say, it's not a system I've used a lot, but I do want to make sure everything works, and I want to make sure everything's clean, because if you're going to work on a system, that's the very minimum you should be able to do. All right, so this just slides back inside here. Okay, just slides in. It's got 2 screws that once it's all the way in, fastens on the inside there, and that'll be what secures the radiator to the top of the case and on top of our CPU itself. Of course, you have to apply thermal paste, And I'll show you one more thing that you'll need to know. So if you're doing this from scratch, it will matter to you. So these are the brackets. They point toward the CPU, and they use your existing backplate. All right. So I don't have to take those off because the new one is probably going to use the same thing. I will verify that, but that'll just save me a step. So remember, you're going to use your backplate. You have 4 spacers. All right. This screws go through to fasten the spacers and this bracket on, and then you're going to secure it in here. All right. So just make sure, because I mean, this is more about seeing what it looks like and what the temperatures are than an actual installation, but I might as well show you as much of it as I can so you know how to do everything. Okay, so I did clean it. It's not spotless, but I mean, once something gets dirty, it's hard to completely get it clean. So clean this, wipe this down a little bit. I'm going to have to blow this out a little bit still and clean this, of course, before I put anything else up there. But then this will be ready to go. I'll have this as a spare for another system. But I'm going to come back to this because I want to show you how to refill this in a different video. So stay tuned. Refill is right here. That comes out. And yeah, you only have to take the fans off. So I'm going to put all the fans back on and then show you how we check this and how we level it and how we refill it. So stay tuned for that for another video. For now, I'm going to put the adjustable RGB fans on here that Be Quiet has. They are the Light Wings 120 millimeter. And they come with their own adjustable RGB hub. And they're PWM high speed. So they will work perfect. And then we're going to get on to our actual Light Loop 360 millimeter red and put that on the top and check it out. Okay, so this was completely unplanned, but I decided if I'm going to put the RGB fans on there, let's see if it actually works. There we go. Hopefully I've connected everything right. Okay, so one thing I forgot is that hub has a little cable. I forgot to plug that into the RGB on the motherboard, and now you can see everything is lit up. Fans are all going, and fans in the front are going. Now, this is just the one that I repurposed the 360, added the RGB lighting to see if it would even fit. To my surprise, of course, it does. So we're good to go. So the only thing left now is actually, let's get back to the Light Loop, which, you know what, it's probably going to look a lot like this because you add the adjustable RGB to this. It looks pretty slick. The Light Loop, it's got a little bit more to it, so we're going to have a look at that too. So stay tuned. Okay, so all the cables are here. I put a little piece of Velcro to hold it in place. Still got some cleaning up to do. Down to the hub on the bottom here, just tuck it away there. So there's 3 cables left. The SATA for power from the power supply, your fan, no, that has to go to your motherboard, and your adjustable RGB. Once I plug all those in, I'll close it up and we'll see how everything works. Everything should work just fine. The only thing else I've done, I'll just show you on the other side here, is I haven't put this in there yet, but I have mounted it in here, secured it, and I'm expecting that this is going to light up. Don't know if there's lights here or not. We'll see. And we'll have to apply some thermal paste. Like I say, we used the original backplate, took the plastic pieces off, used the brackets that came, put the spacers and the screws to hold everything on. So once I put the thermal paste on there, connect those cables in the back. There's a couple final cables. Again, these go to the motherboard, addressable RGB, and a fan. So a CPU fan. Once those are on, and this is secured, we'll have another look. Okay, so this went back on the same as the other one did. Screw here, one on the bottom into the mounts using your back plate from your motherboard. That's fastened on here. I have 2 cables here to do, the addressable RGB and the fan, which will go to the CPU fan, which is right up here, and addressable RGB header. The only thing left now is to connect our fans in the back. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so my SATA cable was here. Line it up so your L goes together properly. Okay, We'll be able to tuck that cable away. Then we have this cable here, which is for the addressable RGB, so we'll pass that through, and a fan connector, so we'll pass that through as well. We could put it on the hub, just I don't think we get the controls that we want if we do that. So I'm going to put that through, connect it on the inside, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so I've connected the RGB, or addressable RGB. I've connected the cables. Everything is on there now, so all that's left is to turn it on and make sure everything works. And check the temperatures. Well, that looks pretty good. A little more color to the system. I can see the color up here. I thought this might be lit up, but apparently not. So I will have to show you from down below once I verify it boots up. There, at least we know it's working. I'll do the temps, and then I'll give you a better look at that. There, you can see it underneath now just a little bit better. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Even this changes with the lighting of this. And so now a case that was very, well, didn't look very inviting, very exciting, now has RGB on the 360 that's in there. This is all lit up. It's got breathing, but the rainbow color pattern, and same with this. So now let's check our temperatures. Okay, so on the screen now you can see, I didn't think there'd be a lot of difference in temperatures. There is a little bit. It is slightly below, but pretty much around what it was. CPU socket is definitely a little bit less, at 23 degrees. CPU core temperature at 31. Actually, I think it was 35, 36, so that is about 5-degree drop. And, you know, this is just setting on idle, nothing really going on. And, yeah, so we can change up all our colors now, which gives you that extra little bit of flare people are looking for. And it's a little bit cooler running system. I'm happy with it. I just wanted to show you this as well. All right, everybody, so let's look at the Be Quiet Light Loop 360 millimeter radiator. All right, I gotta say the RGB fans were nice. This is a lot more color to it. It works with MSI, all the other companies that are out there, motherboard manufacturers. I'll get it right. And it looks pretty spectacular, actually. I'm happy with it. Now, Be Quiet did send me this to do the review, but if it didn't work right, I would certainly tell you. In fact, I'm seeing CPU core temperatures get down to 29 degrees. It was definitely not going to do that on the other one. And so it's about 29, 30. So, yes, it's on idle, but the other one was on idle as well. So, it looks good, very easy to install. Yeah, I really, really like it. And the idea that the other 360 Rads that they had from before could take their other fans that were RGB they came out with, put that on there. I showed that to you too. And it looks good too, but this is definitely better. Their Light Loop radiator is far and above. The size of their CPU block that goes on your CPU to cool it off, that's much better. And I think because it's not necessarily a lot more coverage, but it just looks better just because of the size of it. So it gives you a lot more light in your system, and something I think most people would be very happy to have. So having had a look at this, look at the temperatures, see how it all works. Let me know if you like it, what you think about it. Drop it in the comments, and I'll get back to you if I can. If you have questions, if anything I missed, ask them, and I'll get back to you on that as well. Basically, your cables for hooking it up were very simple. Now, I use two addressable RGB cables on the motherboard. Not every motherboard is going to have two. Some may only have one. So I do believe I probably could have put it into the hub and saved that one from the motherboard. So I'm quite certain I could do that, as a matter of fact. So yeah, you could do that. And the fan header, only one of them has to go to the motherboard. So the one from your fan hub needs to go there. The other one, not really sure. But I mean, you always want to put it on CPU fan, in my opinion anyway. There is the AIO, but if you do that, make sure you turn off the monitoring for your CPU. Otherwise, you're going to get high temperatures that aren't actually high, okay, because it's misreporting it. All right, things to keep in mind. So thank you very much for watching. If you're new here, think about subscribing. Hit that bell for notifications for videos as they come up, as I try and do more and more, but I've kind of backed off a little bit. And of course, thank you for watching, and have a great, great day. Take care. Bye-bye.